There was a time where the Mexican national team was the heartbeat of a football-obsessed country, a team feared across CONCACAF and respected on a world stage, even by legends, and always expected to make it out the World Cup stage. Now, now it feels like watching a telenovela with no ending and no plot twist. The three isn't just in a decline, it's in a disarray. Today I'm going to talk about the problem with the Mexican national team right now. Let's start. Let's start with the FMF, the Federación Mexicana de Fútbol. Because honestly, if there was a crime scene, the Federation will be the prime suspect. From rigged contracts to nepotism to money first decisions, the Federation has been accused of putting money first before progress. In 2021, an investigation into El Cartel del Gol revealed how agents and officials benefited from inflated transfer fees and shady deals. Even the former president AMLO called for an open investigation. Corruption is a business that anyone could literally see. They even suspended promotion and relegation in the Liga MX from 2020 to 2026, which is a great idea if you're running a monopoly, not if you're trying to develop future hungry competitive players. Let's talk about the fans, or specifically the fans in the US, which I'm basically one. I'm gonna be the honest, but I'm not the problem though. I watch their matches, but I'm not here buying their stuff or anything. All right, I'm just making that sure. But I'm a Mexican American. All right, no, Mexican American fans are loyal, way too loyal. They fill stadiums, they buy all the merch, and make every match in the United States feel like a home game. But here's the problem with that. That's good, but here's the problem. It gives the Mexican Federation no reason to change. The team barely even plays in Mexico, if not at all. They tour the United States like they're a freaking rock band, while European national teams send their team to Argentina or Brazil where the competition is high. Unlike in CONCACAF, where you literally play Trinidad and Tobago. They're farmers. They're literally oil workers, bro.
I want to eat your booty.
That's the difference between the Mexican national teams sending their team to the USA versus other European teams sending them to freaking Argentina or whatever, or other countries. That's the difference, right? The Mexican national team literally play in Las Vegas, USA, against teams like Guatemala, one of the worst freaking teams of all time, bro. One of the worst teams. They even lost against them, bro. And they're one of the worst teams in the whole freaking country, the whole world right now. And they lost, bro. You see how the freaking difference right now is? You see the problem? You see the problem? It's not about competing for the World Cup or progressing. It's about filling in stadiums. One of the most damaging things is how Mexican football players are overvalued by their own league. Liga MX clubs set massive price tags on their domestic talent. You may ask, because it's literally profitable, but it also makes the players feel stuck. Isaac Brizuela once said that his transfer to Celtic fell through because of an outrageous transfer fee. Uriel Antuna and Rodolfo Pizarro are two other examples of players who European chances evaporated due to their expensive price tags. And when players do indeed move to Europe, it's often way too late. They're like 25, 26, 27, past their development prime. Compared to that to Uruguay or Argentina, where 19-year-olds are shipped to Serie A, Premier League, La Liga. Former national team coach Tata Martino, one of the scummiest managers of all time in my opinion, he said it best: Mexican football protects its players way too much, it hurts them. There's also a cultural issue. A lot of this domestic talent are good, but they're way too comfortable in the Liga MX. What do you think they start off Argentinians and all this felt like all these other like freaking South Americans in the league? because the money is good. The money is freaking good in La Liga MX. If you're a football player, you have to make it to La Liga MX. If you want to be rich and you're a player who didn't really do good in like Europe or like in your own league, and you want to be rich, come to Liga MX. Number one freaking league, one of the best leagues to make money. Not the number one, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you look at players like Diego Lainez, who had all the promises in the world, but came back to Mexico early after failing to break through at Real Betis. Or like Carlos Vela, who despite his world-class ability, walked away from European glory and the national team, all just to walk and be comfortable in LA. He was one of the best talents in the world. He had everything. Just because he hated soccer. He loved a different sport, which is basketball. But he had no passion. He was way too comfortable. And he all wanted to chill and be in LA. This generation lacks urgency. There's literally no hunger. It feels like players care more about their social media presence than becoming legends in football. Now, let's talk about the coaching, the managers, basically. The coaching situation in the Mexican national team is literally a disaster. After Juan Carlos Osorio and his chaotic but effective 2018 World Cup campaign, it's been nothing but short-term hires and long-term confusion. And let's talk about the scummy Argentinian football manager who coached the national team in the 2022 World Cup, Tata Martino, who literally got sacked, or in better words, he left due to his freaking scummiest player decision choices he made, and his terrible, for the first time in like 20 something years, World Cup stage exit. They didn't even make it to round 16. They lost in the World Cup stages, in the early World Cup stages. Then came another Argentinian manager, Diego Coca, who only lasted literally a few months. Then after him, Jaime Lozano, who was literally overhyped. Literally, the whole Mexican media was overhyping him way too much. He was promising, but he was still handcuffed by the federation politics. The managers in the Mexican national team are thrown in without a long-term support or a clear project. Every Gold Cup, every World Cup, and when it's time to go to the Copa America, which is probably gonna be none, but when you go to the Copa America, it feels like an experiment. Like you're still stuck doing experiments. There's really no continuity or no structure. Even though all these drawbacks in the national team, there is still talent. One such talent is Santiago Jimenez, which I agree. He's not scoring goals like everyone expects him to be. But let's be honest, nobody passes the ball to him. There's no freaking good passes like in Europe or nothing. So that's my excuse though. That's all I'm saying. But he's still a world-class talent, a promising youngster. He's still like 24 years old. And there's Edson Alvarez and Johan Vasquez Johan Vasquez is doing really good in Genoa in Serie A. He's a really good defender. He might move to Juventus and all that. That's all freaking rumors. But he has a good, promising future. But he's like 25 or so, whatever. And Edson Alvarez, who's literally doing horrible in Premier League. His team literally suck, even though on paper they should be good. But his whole team is literally like bad right now. He's in bad form. But he still has like, there's still rumors. After recording, West Ham literally said that he's not gonna be there for another season. So Dortmund and all these other clubs are in the talks to him. So, and in my opinion, he should go Dortmund because that's where he's gonna be at peak. Dortmund has one of the best development. They're one of the best development teams for like superstars, bro. Like, have you seen all the superstars that Dortmund has or had or they developed? So if you go to Dortmund, it's really gonna be super good. Anyways, these players have a potential to have a good foundation in the future, but they need a system. They need a culture, a federation who prioritizes football over profit. Until the federation stops treating the national team like a circus, until La Liga MX stops locking talent behind golden bars. Until fans stop enabling the mediocrity with ticket sales and blind loyalty, Mexico will always be a sleeping giant who will never wake up. What makes things worse is how divided the fan base is. Mexican fans are really quick to turn on their own players, booing players like Memo Ochoa and Raul Jimenez. Even though they given years to the shirt, they given glory and actual respect to the shirt they're wearing. There's this toxic culture where players are overhyped one day and turned down the next. I say the media plays a really big role in this toxic cycle, and instead of building heroes, they create scapegoats. Fans also are stuck in the past, stuck on memories like Rafa Marquez. I'll say Cuauhtemoc Blanco too, even though he was only like good in the national team, and he didn't like, do good in Europe, but he's still a legend. Let's be honest. And Hugo Sanchez. They're constantly comparing the new generation with old legends, while refusing to let them grow in their own terms. Meanwhile, there's a worrying lack of youth development. Promising players such as Marcelo Flores faded after poor club decisions, and the players themselves too. Meanwhile, bad transfers like Antuna inflated deals continue to clog the systems. Instead of building towards the future, Mexico seems to be obsessed with repeating the past. And while this infighting continues, their biggest rivals, USA, the United States of America, continue to build. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The USA national team. They beat Mexico more times than not in recent years, including finals in the Nations League and the Gold Cup. Players like Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie are thriving in Europe, and although it's kind of the same in the US like Mexico, their federation are at least building a little bit, not that much. They're still bad, just like Mexico, but they're at least doing something towards their youth. They're still bad, but they're at least doing better than Mexico. Meanwhile, Mexico is literally stuck debating where to play in Houston or San Diego. And beyond CONCACAF, Mexican fans are obsessed with creating this imaginary rivalry to top-tier nations like Argentina, Germany, and Brazil. Like they're in some type of beef they didn't sign up for. Like, taking for example, in a recent interview, Lionel Messi, the best football player of all time, the number one player of all time, ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo, even said that he doesn't even think of Mexico. They don't even think. Messi doesn't even think Mexico is a rival, even though it stinks. At least he's honest. Argentina chants about Brazil chants about Argentina or Uruguay, but Mexico, nobody chants about Mexico. Mexican fans fantasize about rivalries that don't even exist, rivalries that never really were reciprocated. The problem isn't ambition, it's delusion. You can't become rivals with greatness until you're beating greatness. The future isn't uncertain for El Tri, it's bleak. To be fair, El Tri really does have good accomplishments in history. 11 Gold Cups, a Confederation Cup in 1989, legendary football players like Hugo Sanchez, Rafa Marquez, Chicharito, Andres Guardado even, a historic Olympic gold medal in 2012, who they beat against the odds with freaking Neymar's Brazil, undefeated streaks at home, and passionate fans around the world. But the future weighs heavy too. No fifth World Cup game, despite hosting it at home. Now at the 2022 World Cup group stage, a disappointed Copa America 2024 group stage exit, constant underachievement at youth levels, and the federation more focused on branding than football. The weight of the past can't carry the present forever. This isn't just a dip in form. This is a cultural collapse hidden behind sold-out stadiums and World Cup nostalgia. But the question remains, will the next generation break the cycle, or will Mexico keep spinning its wheels, stuck between potential and profit? Only time will tell. But one thing's clear, something has to change. Thanks for watching. Sub and like. If I missed anything or you have a critique on my video, constructive critique on my video, no hate comments, obviously. Please comment down below. Um, I know I missed a lot of stuff. I'm literally a biased Mexican fan. I grew up watching the Mexican national team towards the bad stuff and everything. But bro, this team literally, oh my god, bro, so much problems with it, bro. It literally has a potential. It's literally a sleeping giant. It has the potential of being one of the greats. Because how does Croatia, Belgium, all these small nations with literally less than the population of Mexico City have better players and have done way better stuff than Mexico? Man, bro, I literally might even die, bro, before this freaking nation even wins a World Cup, bro. We literally are the future. But this federation, bro, something needs to change. Anyways, please like and sub. Thanks for watching, sub and like, bro. Comment down below.